Hi, my name's Sheehan, and today I'd like to talk about On the Waterfront, the 1954 film directed by Elia Kazan and starring Marlon Brando, Carl Malden, L.J. Cobb and Eva Marie Saint. I'd like to go through this famous film exploring the structure of the plot as well as the themes that crop up. Now, I guess if you could sum up what this film is about, it's about one man's redemption through standing up to the mob. Now, you could say the film is in three acts. Act one is really all about the death of this guy called Joey and the aftermath of his death. We're introduced to the main character in this film, the chief protagonist, Terry Malloy, played unforgettably by Marlon Brando, of course. Terry Malloy is an ex-prize fighter who, with his brother Charlie, has kind of been brought up in the mob, and this bunch of gangsters control the docks of New Jersey, and Terry is very much caught up in this. The mob is run by this gangster called Johnny Friendly, and Charlie, Terry's brother, is Johnny Friendly's right-hand man. Terry was an ex-prize fighter, but now his life seems to have gone nowhere. He's pushing 30, and there seems to be no future for Terry. Now, at the beginning of the film, Terry entices this guy called Joey to the top of a building. Terry thinks, apparently this Joey is about to testify against the mob to the Waterfront Crime Commission, but the gangsters throw him off the building so he can't squeal on them, he can't sing like a canary, as they say. So Joey's sister Edie comes out. There's a priest there, Father Barry, who delivers the last rites, and both of whom are central characters in this film. And Terry's pretty shocked because he didn't really think, he wasn't expecting this to be a murder. He just thought they were going to rough this guy up as such. Edie is trying to persuade the priest, Father Barry, who seems to see these workers, these dockers, as his congregation, his parish, his mission field. He sees that there's work that needs to be done here, and Edie is to overcome this evil which is controlling the docks through Johnny Friendly's mob. And Father Barry is spurred on by Edie, Joey's sister, to tackle this. So Father Barry organises a church meeting to see if people can come together in the light of Joey's death and expose Johnny Friendly and his cronies for who they really are and break the stranglehold of this mob on the workers. And Terry's there to kind of spy on things and report back to Johnny Friendly. The meeting's disrupted, but Edie and Terry meet up, and they seem to, despite being very different people, Edie's very kind of studious. She wants to be a teacher. She's had somewhat of a sheltered upbringing. Terry is, of course, largely uneducated, kind of a rough around the edges character, struggles with his words, but they seem to hit it off. There seems to be this mutual attraction between the two. And Terry introduces Edie to his rooftop pigeons. It's at the end of this act where Terry is confronted by the Waterfront Crime Commission with a subpoena. Terry is being called up to court to testify against Johnny Friendly. Act 2 revolves around the deaths of two more people. One is K.O. Dugan, a docker, a longshoreman, who apparently has talked to the Waterfront Crime Commission behind closed doors Johnny Friendly's got wind of this. K.O. Dugan needs to be dealt with, and so this accident is staged whereby he's flattened by a pallet full of Irish whiskey. Now it's here that Father Barry delivers probably one of the greatest moments in this film, his speech, where he just cries out against the evil of the mob and how the workers need to rise up against them. He describes each death as a crucifixion, laying on thick the religious symbolism of those being downtrodden by evil. And there's more of that religious symbolism indeed right at the end of the film. Father Barry, by the way, is played brilliantly by Carl Malden. It's here that Terry and Edie really solidify their relationship, their budding relationship, and they kiss. But that's to be short-lived. Terry's beginning to feel very guilty about his involvement in Joey's death, and he admits to Father Barry of what happened. Father Barry encourages him to tell Edie, which he does, but of course it shatters their newly forged relationship. Terry is then confronted by the crime commission again, and the mob are really worrying now about Terry being a canary and singing and telling the court everything. So Johnny Friendly gets Joey's brother Charlie, who is his kind of right-hand man, and tells him to sort out his brother. And then we have this amazing scene in the car with that very famous lines, but a real kind of emotional core of the film. Charlie's trying to persuade Terry to, not attend the court hearing the next day. He's going to be given an easy job with loads of money, and he's threatened with a gun by Charlie, but Terry knows what he needs to do by now. It's here we really understand Terry's lack of self-esteem and how the world has dealt him bad blows, how his fledgling career as a boxer was cruelly cut short by the mob, including his own brother, in a rather devastating way. It's here that Terry utters those words, I could have been somebody, I could have been a contender, I'm just a bum, those famous lines. A real highlight of this film. Charlie then realises that he needs to help his brother, even if it means it will cost his own life, which of course it does. Terry and Edie are back together. They realise they love each other, but then they find Charlie's body. Terry cries out for vengeance, runs to the bar in a rage, but Father Barry persuades him not to kill anybody, but if he really wants to hurt Johnny Friendly, he must tell all at the courtroom the next day. And that brings us to Act 3. It's here that Terry tells the court everything, and this is the worst thing that could happen to Johnny Friendly. He knows he could lose all his contacts through this. But after this show of bravery by Terry, his life has changed. His friends no longer want to be associated with him. Even the boys who help him with the pigeons on the roof, they've turned against him. They feel betrayed by him, and they've killed his pigeons. So Terry, met by Edie, now vows to go back to the waterfront and confront Johnny Friendly and to sort this situation out once and for all. He goes back, he's denied work, everyone else gets a job except him, even the kind of tramp down the road. And Terry confronts Johnny Friendly, and they have a fight. The mob rush on to Terry, and Terry's just beaten up to a pulp. But then Johnny Friendly is pushed in the water by Edie's father, and Terry is urged to get back up despite his injuries, to get on his feet and to walk into the warehouse without the kind of orders of the gangsters. And indeed he does walk in his faltering steps, followed by all the workers who now see Terry as some kind of hero who's going to lead them out of the corruption and the criminality of this crooked union. And the film ends with this hope for the future. Now, the themes in the film, as I've alluded to, include the Christian idea of redemption. Terry's life is, it's a wasted life. He's a nobody. He's a bum, as he keeps telling it. People tell him and he tells himself. But through standing up to the mob, having the courage to stand up to the mob, he's able to redeem himself. And this is made clearest right at the end of the film, where Terry is beaten up, crucified in a way. Remember, the priest, Father Barry, talks about any death is a crucifixion for those dockers. Well, this is kind of Terry's crucifixion. But he rises again, and he goes into the warehouse, followed by everybody else. That redemption, kind of resurrection of Terry, if you like. Very powerful image. Kind of gives the film a real emotional core, a spiritual core, I think. And then we have, of course, much about corruption, about fear, about intimidation, about doing the right thing. The pigeons on the roof, which I guess in a way symbolise the dockers. They have the potential to fly away and to be free, but they're kind of pinned down, trapped by the mob in their coops. More themes, of course, in this marvellous film. But it's a great film. Check it out if you haven't watched it. If you haven't seen it for a long time, watch it again. Great performance, of course, by Marlon Brando and Carl Malden as well, particularly as Father Barry. And a great film directed by Elia Kazan. Whether he had the moral authority perhaps to do this film, of course he was involved in the McCarthy witch hunts, is another question. But, great artists are rarely completely black and white characters. Thanks for watching, and there's a brief slideshow of the themes and structure after this. Bye.